spoken about, you could write to us. And one promise that we give and we take very, very seriously is that all questions are important and all answers are going to be given. We do address all questions. So having said that, I will start to share my screen and move forward with this. Right. So we are here today to talk about goals, and this is a word that you've probably heard before, of course. And goal setting is something that I'm sure you've heard of this before as well. Some of you must have even tried it. So normally when we come across a goal setting workshop and we have an audience, we have three type of people, right? One is those who have never set any goals, ever, ever, ever. And this is a good place to be, a good place to start and explore this whole concept. Then we have those people who have set goals and you know what, it didn't work for me very well. So welcome to this session, because it makes sense to be here, as maybe I can now give you a perspective and see as to why it didn't work out for you and what you could do differently right now. But if you've been setting goals, even if you've not been achieving them, kudos to you, at least you've been thinking on those lines. Third is those kind of people who are here because, you know what, we've set goals and we've achieved them also. So I'm just here to figure out, what did you want to give me a new perspective about? And I'm so glad, because this feeling of curiosity and the spirit of curiosity will take you far. So thank you, all three of you, for being here. So let's get started. So there are two aspects to this entire concept of goal and goal setting. Of course, to set a goal, we need a goal. And once you have a goal, we need to set the process. So what is a goal? If I was to ask you, what is a goal? A goal is a point marking the end of a race. Goal is the object of effort or ambition, or the destination. Effort that a person might put in towards a certain direction, an ambition that he might have, and a destination, a place where we want to reach, whether it is physically, it is in a certain role that we are playing, it is in a certain task that we want to do. Destination is the end point of what we are trying to achieve. So that is what a goal is. And what is goal setting? Of course, the process of deciding what you want to accomplish. And so that's the goal. And devising a plan to achieve the result that you want. Now, often what happens is some people miss out on two of these things. There are some who don't have goals at all. Well, then, of course, if no goals, then we can't set them. And then there are others who have goals, and they have good, lofty, sensible, relevant goals, and they really want to achieve it, but somehow missed out on taking time to plan the process of achieving those goals. If we miss out any of these two, we cannot really achieve the whole thing. And we will address both of these in great detail. What I will be taking you through is the importance of goals, and then why we don't set them. And then, should we choose to set them, how can we set them? We will talk about types of goals. And then in the end, the bottom line. And that is the thing, that if you've done everything well, you've understood, you've attended my presentation, you've understood the importance, the need to set goals, and why we may not set goals and overcome all of those, you've set the goals also. If we do not address the bottom line, or if we don't keep that in mind, we will just have it as a house of cards, and it will sooner or later come crumbling down. So stick till the end too, okay? So moving on, why do we need goals? So there's this American historian and writer and a poet who says that trouble with not having a goal is that you can spend your entire time running up and down the field and never score. Now imagine your life as a football field, and you didn't have goals on the end. But you had the ball, you had the teams, and you were just playing, you were just running up and down. And you would never know that, did you actually score? Did you win? Did you move on? Did you achieve? Is this the point where we say, yes, I've done it? Is this the point where I can sit and say that, I'm satisfied with what happened today? How does it work? So why do we need goals? Let's talk about this one by one. And after this is when I will ask you to write down a goal for yourselves. But first, let me explain as to why would I want you to do that, right? You're spending your Saturday morning with me. So why? Firstly, goals give you direction. Of course, now, if we are heading towards some place, if we have no target, like they say right now, if you didn't have a goal on the field, you wouldn't have a direction. You wouldn't have a way, a thing to move towards. And you would be moving around randomly without a target. The point is, when you live your life from day to day to day to day, you are expending your mind, your time, and your effort. And goals give you a direction towards where to direct all of that. When we have a direction, we know exactly what we are aiming at. And this person called Zig Ziglar, he said that if you aim at nothing, you will hit every time. Hear that again. If you aim at nothing, you will hit every time, because honestly, you are not hitting at anything at all. So goals give you a direction, a purpose, a reason for moving on. They measure progress. A very important aspect of having goals is that they measure progress in the way that, now, if I know where I have to go, what my end point is, and I know where I am, I can plan. I can also look back and see how far I've come. Sometimes it favors us to see, it is beneficial to see the gap between where I am and my goal. Sometimes that works as a motivation. And sometimes when you're just a little tired, it's good to have a look back to see the start point and see how much you've gained. So let me tell you a story over here. There was a swimmer called Florence, and in 1952, she took up the task of swimming 26 miles between the coastline of California to the Catalina Islands. And of course, to swim 26 miles in open seas does require a lot of effort and skill. So she did practice a lot, and she had a whole team who was looking after her practice, her coaches, her diet, all of that. And on the day of the swim, she went on. And after 15 hours of swimming, suddenly fog descended. Now, when fog came up, Catalina could not see how much further she had to go. And she was obviously 15 hours of swimming is long. She let go. She signaled to her team saying that I'm done, I'm calling it off after 15 hours of work. And then when she sat on that boat resting, she realized that had she gone on for just one more mile, she would have reached. Had they foreseen this, had there been people around her in some way, or had the fog not come, she would have definitely seen land and would have continued with her swim. So that's why it is very important that we have goals, because when we have a goal, it gives us the point where we need to reach. It helps us keep the focus. It's very nice to know where we want to reach. But now that we know where we want to reach and we're moving in that journey, it helps us to keep the focus on that point. And focus helps us to move away from distractions. And if we have focus on the goals, then the distractions become hazy. It helps us overcome procrastination. I'll do it. And I will tell you how. I will talk about this in a little more detail, where when we've set a goal, how it helps us to avoid procrastination. That is the feeling of, okay, I'll do it later, or I will do it after this. This point will be taken up continuously as we talk about why we fail or to set goals and how to set goals. We'll talk about this point more as to why or how we can avoid postponing moving towards our goals. So we need it because we need to postpone procrastination. We need to procrastination. Keep you motivated. Again, just like that, to keep a track of how far we've come. Because let me tell you, there will be days that no matter how well you plan, there will be days when you will feel, enough. I don't want to move on. It's like, I'm tired today. So that day, the goal And a well-set goal, a well-formed goal will keep you on the track. Finally, it helps you understand what you want. Now, that's very interesting. First, you say that what you want is your goal. And then I'm saying that what you want is, just a second. I'm so sorry for the background noise over there. So it helps us understand what you want. Now, sometimes, like, I might have the people in the first category who've never set goals, who've never had the reason to set goals. So when you start to think that why not set a goal, then it makes you start to think, what do you want? In what direction would you want to set a goal? In what direction would you want to measure it? Where would you want to keep your focus on? What would you want to keep motivated about? So that is why we need goals. So having said that, and if there are any doubts, you could ask them right now on a chat, or why don't you write down the goals that you might think of or that you might already have? Write them down right now on a piece of paper. And I would request you to write down maybe one, maybe two. It's up to you. And then we could take up one of those goals and take them forward as we move on. I will give you 1 minute to write down your goals. I'm keeping the chat box over here. 1 minute to write down your goals. Don't think too much. I'm not asking you to share unless you want to. Just write down 1, 2, 3, 4, however many that you think you want to achieve. No matter what they are, in which direction, in which sphere. Does it have to be long-term, short-term? It doesn't matter right now. Write down. Don't think about what it has to be. Just write down a goal that comes to your mind right now. Because the whole process is going to make you understand where we can tweak our goals to make sure that we don't miss them. So, done? Can I have 1 or 2 yeses on the chat box to know that you've done that?
So Darsh asks whether does it have to be a long-term or a short-term goal?
It doesn't matter. Just write down. Don't think so much. Write down both. Don't think so much. Okay, done. Thank you. I'll take 1 yes as all yeses. Moving on. I just gave you a whole list of why goals are so important. Then why don't we set them? Why do we lag behind in setting goals? What keeps us away from that? We'll take them up one by one. Fear of failure. What if I don't do it? So the saddest story is the one which is full of, I could have, I should have, I might have. What if I had? That's the saddest story. And a lot of things we don't do because we anticipate failure. In fact, anticipation of failure is far stronger. Fear of failure is far stronger than the reward of achieving something. Because unfortunately, no matter what age you are right now, you have faced some place where you tried to do something and it didn't work. So you've kind of experienced that and you know how that feels. So you want to avoid that. And you don't know how that achievement will feel. So it's easy to stay in the familiar. Then failure also helps us, the fear of failure helps us keep away from disappointment, from judgment, not only from ourselves, from others as well. Oh, who did you think you are to think that you could try this? Fear of failure keeps us away from a lot of things. So if I was to ask you to go and look at your list of goals that you've set and go and look into your mind as you were setting that list, what would you try if you were assured that you would not fail? What would you try if you were certain that you would not fail? Would you add on something else to that goal list? Just think about this. And if you would, go ahead, do it right now. Second, feeling overwhelmed. Now, sometimes what happens is that the goal that we want to set, that we genuinely want to set without the fear of failure, is a big one. We have a big dream, we have a big idea, and we want to kind of follow that through. And that big thing can overwhelm us. And we can feel, oh, but I am like this right now. How can I ever? And it makes us feel insecure. It makes us feel vulnerable. It makes us feel small. And a goal feels bigger. So, one small tip over here is don't overestimate your goal and underestimate yourself. I'll repeat that. Don't overestimate your goal and underestimate yourself. Have a look at the goals again and go to that question: what would you attempt if you knew that you wouldn't fail? And I will address this again. I will tell you that in case when you are feeling overwhelmed, how do we deal with that? Because all of these things will happen. Failure will happen. A small tip: change the word failure to feedback. Talk about or think back right now to a time when you did try something and you failed. Now, think about this and think about the same thing and think about what did you learn from that? What could you have done differently? That is feedback. So next time you try, you know that that didn't work for me. So actually, it wasn't failure, it was moving on. It was learning more, becoming wiser. So, third, comfort zone. Now, comfort zone is a very interesting place. It is where we feel safe. It's a safe place. It's also a dangerous place. It's safe because it keeps us safe. We are happy over there. We are comfortable over there. We are secure over there. And it is dangerous because it keeps us there. It is so attractive. But if we stay there, like they say, everything that you want is outside your comfort zone. So even if you want a glass of water, you have to sit up from that comfortable chair or the bed that you were lying down on and go and get it. If you wanted to eat well, you had to get out of your house. If you wanted to become an athlete, you would have to get out of your warm bed and go running early in the morning. So everything that you want is actually outside your comfort zone. So be aware of this comfort zone of yours. Every time you feel challenged is good. That is when you need to know that, I'm on the right track. I need to do this just a little bit, but I need to do this. Comfort zone also helps us understand whether we are satisfied and we will stay there and become bored, or will we step forward into the unknown. Ignorance of concept and process. We spoke about these three people in the very beginning. So sometimes we are moving through life, especially when we are young. Like, for example, when you were in class 1, there was no actual goal setting that you did. You just knew that you would come back home, do your homework, have an exam, pass that exam, move on to next class. Go to school, study, attend classes, come back home, do your homework, study for your exams, appear for your exams, move to the next class. So, honestly, we didn't actually need to set goals. We didn't consciously set goals. No one asked us to set goals because there was like, it was a very set pattern that we were following. And that is all that we did. We just did what was meant to be done. There was no goal as such. But now, when we are moving towards class 10 to maybe selecting streams, selecting subjects, then we move to class 12 where we have to think about selecting courses and colleges. Then we move forward to maybe selecting our masters, further studies, or the internships, or the work that we want to do, or the jobs that we want to get into, or follow our passions. That's when we understand the meaning of goals. Where do we want to go finally? Where is all this leading to? So now might be a good idea to start that. So sometimes we don't set goals because we didn't know this concept, or we knew the concept and we kind of didn't know the process, or we knew the process and we kind of missed out what I call the bottom line. And low self-esteem. Now this is a mixture of all the four above, or I could just give you one reason for not setting goals, and that could be so low self-esteem, where you feel that, really, can I do that? Oh, I can't do that. Oh no, what if I fail again? Oh no, this is too big for me. Oh, it's gonna challenge me too much. Oh, I don't know how to do it. Will I ever learn how to do it? all of this. And the best antidote for low self-esteem is to set a goal, a small one, and to achieve it. In fact, let me give you a tip over here. Set the alarm to wake up in the morning. I'm not saying early in the morning, at whatever time you want and you feel comfortable. Yes, it's the first time that we might be doing it. Set the alarm without the snooze and wake up at that alarm at the first go, no matter what time it is. Because no matter what time we wake up, we don't feel like waking up. So that's a thing. So when we do that, we've just told our brain, and the brain just told us, it's a dialogue that, you know what? I can follow through. I can do it. I can decide and I can follow through. And if you do that consecutively, or if you start your day with that, I can follow through feeling, just look into the way you can follow through other things as well in the day. Try that someday. In fact, I challenge you to try that for 5 days and come back to me if it didn't work and if it didn't add up to your self-esteem and made you feel confident that, okay, I can do this. Let's see what else can I do. So there, so don't let these things stop you. So now go back to the goals that you've just written. See that, is there something else that you want to add? Is there a certain increase in scope that you want to add that you didn't, because unknowingly you let any of these 5 aspects impact you? Just an exercise for yourself. Nobody needs to see, but go. Because I am certain there was a choice in your mind that you could have written and you didn't because you're like, maybe next time. So try that out. Now, so now that we've thought about this and we've found out about all of this, any questions so far? Any questions so far before we actually get down to writing down our goals and tweaking the ones that we've had? Do we have any questions, Thomas? Anywhere so
Not
far?
yet, Dolveen. I would request everyone to
Not
share
yet.
your queries on chat as well.
Any questions so far? Okay, so far we are good there. And I just hope that you're following through with the exercises. SMART goals. Simple. It's a very common acronym and it's a very powerful acronym. So that is why it has stayed on. People have added onto it, but we don't need to go there because that's more for organizations. But this actually works. And now we can take up your goals. Have a look at the goal statement that you want to choose for today's exercise. Pick up out of the many that you've written, pick up one, right? And look at it. Is it specific? Because SMART goals are the ones that we can that are specific, that can be measured, that can be achieved, they are relevant, and they're time bound. So the goal statement that you wrote, make it specific. Specific is, it is explicit, it is precise, it is to the point. You know exactly what, where, when, who you have to meet or what you have to do and why you have to do that. More than why, it is more of the what, when, where. How much is also a point, but how much comes into measurable. So as of right now, if you could specify your goal, if there's any doubt, if there's any, that I've done this, is this the way to do it? You can please share that in the chat or unmute yourself right now and speak it out, and we could specify whether that is a specific goal or not. If you want to share that with us right now, we would love it. An example of a goal which is not specific is that I'm going to work harder. Not specific at all. I don't know harder in what direction. What does hard mean to me? What does harder mean to me in comparison to hard? In what area? When? I have not specified anything. So that's a very, very unspecific goal. Measurable. Of course, we've just given what can't be measured, can't be improved. Is as simple as that. And the other way, what is measured is improved and can be improved. Because you know that you could move from point 1 to point 2. It could be a upward movement or a downward movement, actually. So measurable. How much? How much would you do? How much would you need to do? So now look back at your goal and add the element of it being measurable. Add whether you want to add hours, the days, add that. Next, achievable. Now, this is subjective. Now, if you were to share a specific or a measurable doubt that, ma'am, is this a specific goal or is this a measurable goal for me, I would know exactly which is and which is not. Achievable is slightly on the thin line because it is subjective, where what could be achievable for you may not be achievable for me. But on a general rule, if we make it way too big, it could be unachievable, right? Like, for example, I will complete my entire syllabus in 2 days. It might be unachievable for me, right? But maybe you were just revising it, then it's a separate issue. But if you were learning it for the first time, and to do that, maybe you're just setting up yourself for failure. So achievable goals, they are the ones which help us understand whether we reach for satisfaction or frustration. So achievable, the goal should be challenging enough for you to feel, yes, I've done it. It should give you a sense of satisfaction. It should not tip you over to frustration. That is what an achievable goal would be. Relevant. The goal needs to be relevant. Of course, it has to be. There is no way out about that. It's for your time right now, to what you're doing right now in life, to where you are right now in life, right? So, for example, I am in my last month of my class or my session, and my goal is to achieve X number of marks in my exams or to get into a certain college. And that is the process of my life, because obviously once I finish my class, I need to get into the other class, into the other college. And I'm setting goals on being the best chef in my local community. And I'm really practicing for that. And I'm really reading up for that. And I'm really doing everything for that. I'm waking up in the morning, going to bed, buy fresh fruits and vegetables to put into my things that I'm making. Now, that's a very awesome thing to do. It's an awesome goal to have, to become the best chef or a top quality chef in that community, because that might be an idea for you to move forward and become, get into culinary arts and take that forward as a goal. But right now, is it relevant to spend your mind and your time on it when you have a month to give your exams and move on? So now you need to balance that out. It needs to be relevant, right? Unless being a chef and working on that happens to be completely relevant with an entrance exam that you might be wanting to give, then you have two goals, and then we work accordingly. So make sure that your goals are relevant to you, for you at that particular time. And of course, time bound. If it is not time bound, it's not happening. Then actually, if it's not time bound, how will you ever know that now is the time? So even a football match has a time. So we know that in this time, if you've scored X goals and I scored Y goals, this is higher, this is lower, he wins, he loses. So if you do not have a time bound thing, how will you ever know whether you've achieved it or not? So sometimes what happens with time bound is that where we go wrong with time bound is that we give ourselves too much time. In the next 1 year, I will, which is awesome. But then we feel that we have too much time. And then we might just kind of leave out focus. We will talk about this because an year to 6 months to a month to a week to a day to an hour. We'll talk about that in a moment. So far, any questions? Okay, so far what we've talked about is that why we need to set goals. We've spoken about in detail about why we may not set goals, what could hold us back. We've spoken about that now that we are setting goals, how should the goals be? So by now, I'm sure that on the piece of paper in front of you, with the help of the pen that you used, you do have a few goals written out for yourself in front of you, and they are now in the SMART goal format. And since I'm seeing no questions right now, I will move forward. Now this read that again. If you want to achieve your goals, do not just focus on your goals. Okay, what does that mean? That means that often, as I have worked with youngsters, and often we keep ourselves and we make goals which are so awesome and they're so big and they are so far away. And we keep focusing on that and we forget or let go of what we are doing today. You're like, yeah, I'll do it. That's my goal. I know I will reach there. I will reach there. I will reach there. But imagine if you're an athlete and you have to run a marathon after, say, 6 months. And you're like, yeah, I know, I will reach there. I will do it. But today, you don't run a step. Tomorrow, you don't run a step because you know what? My goal is after 6 months. Now, I will run that marathon. So don't worry, I will run it. So don't focus on that goal. What you need now to focus is on the types of goals. Now, there are outcome goals and they are process goals. Let's talk about them one by one. Outcome goals are your big goals. They are your destinations. They are what you have written as the end point where you want to go. For example, imagine you were at home and you wanted to go to, say, the library, okay? And the library is about 45 minutes from your house and you library. You use a cycle because I'm not assuming that you take a car. So you have to cycle or walk towards the library. So reaching the library is your outcome goal, okay? Process goals are the things that we do to make sure that we reach the library. Outcome goals are the lighthouse. They give you the general direction in which you have to move. And process goals are the day-to-day working of that ship, which is moving towards the lighthouse, which is guided towards or guided by the lighthouse. So process goals are the goals that we set for ourselves in order to reach the outcome goals. Now, to reach the library, I need to get up. I need to get dressed. I need to make sure that I keep my library card. I need to make sure that my cycle is well oiled and the tires are properly full of air. I need to sit on my cycle and start to cycle. I need to keep an eye on the traffic, on the red lights. I need to make sure that because I want to reach there, these are the process goals. If I only keep looking at the library and I don't even get up, how is it going to work? So process goals are what make you or break you. Process goals are what keeps you away from feeling overwhelmed. Process goals are what you go to when, because they are what you do today to reach your final goal. So when you make a SMART goal, which is specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and you need to have process goals for that. One more thing about outcome goals. Outcome goals may not be in your control. In fact, often they're not in your control. So if my outcome goal is that I want to get into X college, Okay, because I want to study a certain stream. So I want to get into X college. Now that's my outcome goal. My process goals could be, I need to study. I need to get X percentage because that's the cutoff. I need to prepare for the entrance exam. This is what is required for the entrance exam. So I need to read up. I need to get my GK in place. I need to get my logical thinking in place because these are the things that come in that entrance exam. These are my process goals. And how I do them, when I do them, how much I do them, in what time frame do I do them, how much do I set myself time aside to do them. These are process goals which I do every day, and they are in my hand. After doing that perfectly, then the aim of reaching that goal becomes the outcome goal. That college becomes more of an reality, but not an actuality. So you can only do what you can to move towards that goal. Be best prepared for that goal. The outcome goal of, say, I want to win the race. All the process goals in place, and there might be somebody else who has process goals in place and might win the race. The point is not that you should not have outcome goals. And the point is not to disappoint you. The point is that if you keep focusing on the outcome goals and you let go of the process goals, then your chances of disappointment are far too much. And then the chances of what if only I had, I could have, I should have, all of that starts off. When you go through the process goals systematically, first of all, it increases your chances of getting your outcome goals 10 times over. Secondly, you're very well prepared to make a slight tweak or to accept the slight tweak to your outcome goal. You might not get into X college, but you will get into Y college. They could be equally good. They could be option A and option B. So that is, you might not win the race, but you might get your personal best performance that day. All of these things. So process goals are the most important. They are what I would call now, write this down, the DAM. DAM, daily action moves. If you have a outcome goal in mind, what would be your daily action moves today to make sure that you are in the direction to keep you on the track of your outcome goals? Could you write that down right now for yourself? What are the things that you would need to do daily? Don't worry about, will I do them? Oh, I can't do this. This is too much. Just write down that if you had to reach that outcome goal, what would be your daily action move? Your daily action steps, your daily action plans. And this is where we address the very important aspect of obstacles. When we keep our eye on the bigger picture, we somehow don't address the obstacles that we might face, because the obstacle we'll face right now in the daily plan. So this process goals helps us to manage those obstacles, tweak the process a little, tweak the steps a little to overcome or go over or go sideways or go under or remove the obstacles. That can be done only when we are talking about the daily action moves. Can you write that down for yourselves? The daily action moves that you might want to make. Any doubts so far? Any doubts so far? Right. Go back to the list of your goals. Go back to the SMART goals and just check out, is it only, or is it an outcome goal, or is it a process goal? Is your process goal a SMART goal? When your process goals are SMART goals, they are what you go to mind when you are low on motivation, because when you're setting a goal, the mind is generally motivated in the forward moving mode, in the I can achieve it mode, and hence I will achieve this mode. And mind overestimates the power of motivation, that it will stay the same forever and evermore. So the process goals are where we trick the mind into being motivated to just take that small step. And one word that I really like, no, three words that I really like that I often use on days when it's not working very well for me in my mind, I use the words just for today. So I don't say every day I'll do it. I don't say daily I'll do it. For a week I'll do it. I just say just for today, I will do this. And my process goals, I go back to my process goals. But just for today, I will read 5 pages. Just for today, I will run for 15 minutes because ultimately I want to become an athlete, or I want to finish reading 15 books in 4 months. For just for today, try that out. Next time you're feeling totally low on motivation, not wanting to do anything, that just for today. And now we come to the bottom line. Now, you've very sweetly sat through the session. You've understood the importance of goals. You've understood the obstacles or the thought processes that we might have, which might keep us away from keeping goals, making goals, or going big with our goals, or really going honest and authentic with our goals, and going after what we really feel like doing. So you've kind of overcome that and tweaked your goals again. You've gone and tweaked your goals again where you have made them into smart goals. You've gone back and looked at those smart goals all over again, identifying them as outcome goals and process goals, and making your process goals very, very smart all over again. I'm assuming that you've done all this along with me. Have you? Have you or not? Because I need to know that before I move on to the bottom line, which could be the thing that will keep you on the track forever and ever more. So can I see a yes or a no over here in the chat, at least one person, so that I know that some of you at least did that. Have you been able to keep up with the exercise so far? Anyone? Can I see that in the chat box?
I see a yes from Manisha. I see a thumbs up from Darsh.
Okay. Oh, great. Great. Thanks, Thomas. That means my chat is not working as well as I would want it to work. Okay. So great. Thanks, Thomas, for that. So now the bottom line are these two questions, and I will take them one by one. Why is the goal important for you? Now, this is a very, very important question that you need to ask. Not that you've set the entire goal and you have, for the sake of practice and to learn this process practically and effectively, you've gone through this process with me today. Look back to your goal and think about this. Why is it that this goal is important for you? Write that down. Write it down, because there is power in writing down things than to keep them in your mind. The first step in making anything concrete is writing it down, and only then can you make it forward. In fact, they say that all things are made twice, are created twice, mentally and physically. So if you've thought of a reason why, the first step into making it into a physical reality is to write it down in front of you. So why is the goal important for you? Write that down. It could be one reason, it could be two reasons. Those reasons have to be yours. They don't have to be your parents or your siblings or your society or what everybody else is doing. It has to be important for you. Yeah. So why is this goal important? After you've written that, now this is something that once you've written, you definitely need to paste it in front of you somewhere where you can see it on a constant basis. Because the why is the one which gives you the purpose, and the why is the one which keeps you moving on. Even to take a small step just for today, keep the why ready. Okay, now that is important for me, and that is why I'm doing it, that is why just for today, I will do this. That's the way we make our mind work for us. and not work for our minds. When the mind says, let it go today. Oh, I'm just too tired. What difference does it make if I don't do it for just one day? It doesn't matter. It's just too small, just 2 pages anyway. Even if I don't read it right now, I will read 2 plus 2 tomorrow. So when your brain starts to work like that, this answer to the question of why is the goal important helps you stay put on the track. And finally, this is very important. What kind of a person will achieve that goal? Read that again. What kind of person will achieve that goal that you have set for yourself? What are the qualities or what are the traits that that person needs to have that will help him achieve that goal? Or if you want to twist this around, what kind of a person will you become? Or what qualities will you have once you've achieved that goal? Write down that list of qualities. This is very important. Write down that list of qualities. Write down even one or two. And stretch yourself to think, who is the kind of person, what qualities in that person will help him achieve that goal? Now, why is this important is that the qualities that you've just identified, first of all, if you've not identified those qualities, how are you ever going to work on the goals? How are you ever going to actually put that fantastic plan you've just made into action if you don't have that quality? Right? Say, for example, the quality might be regularity. Okay? The person is regular or consistent, if that's the word. So regular and consistent. Now, if you haven't identified that quality, which will follow through the daily action steps or the daily action moves, how are you ever going to achieve that? Secondly, once you've identified the quality, do you identify with that quality? Identification of the quality is one step, and identification with that quality is the other step. Are you regular? Are you consistent? Do you see yourself as regular? Do you see yourself as a person who believes in regularity, who believes in consistency, who can do it? What is the story that you tell yourself? Okay, yeah, I'm going to set a goal. I'm going to sit through this, but it never works for me because I just don't stick to it. I will try it this time, but I've seen it's going to be an uphill battle for me, but let me just try it again. So the story that you're telling yourself is that you're not regular. So if you're identifying with being not regular, are you not just waiting for yourself not to be regular? Because you will behave in sync with your identity. You will not behave in sync with the goals that you've set. So that is why this is the bottom line. Change the identity. Oh, I am the person who sets goals and achieves them because I am the person who is regular and I am regular. And now when you are regular, and that is what you've said to yourself, and that is a shift in identity that you want to make and you have chosen to make, then the next question that you will ask will become very easy for you as to what will the regular person do every day? The regular person every day will regularly go through his daily action moves because you identify yourself like that. So your identity decides your behavior. Your behavior is what people see, and that becomes your personality. Then people start to see you as, oh, he's consistent. Your personality then again decides your behavior, because now that you're consistent, you will stay consistent. And then you solidify the identity of being consistent. Goals do that for you. If you've identified a goal, so work backwards. Either you have that quality and you're working towards that goal, Or suddenly you realize, oh, you know what, my goal is so big. And right now I've not been that kind of a person, but I want to do that because maybe you've seen somebody who has done that. Maybe you've had a role model in front of you. Maybe it is your father, maybe it's your mother, maybe it's your brother, maybe it is somebody in your life or somebody in a fictional character that you saw who achieved something. So you've realized what they need to do, how they need to behave. So how we need to behave is how we need to identify ourselves first. So, right, go back. So when you've written down the qualities of the person who will achieve that goal that you have just set so smartly, question to ask yourself every day, whenever you're in that situation, oh, this or that, or this or that, is to ask, what would that person do? Or what would a person with those qualities do? Or what would I do because I have those qualities? It becomes quite simple. It deals with procrastination. It deals with motivation. It deals with the fear of failure because you're identifying it. You're identifying with it. Is there any question on this concept of identifying with the goal or with the qualities? It would be a nice time to ask right now. And we are almost at the end of the 1 hour. You could unmute yourself and ask us, this is actually the bottom line. Because if we've not addressed this, it is not working. So if I'm, for example, I identify myself as a healthy person because that's my goal, to stay healthy no matter what age I am. So if I identify myself as a healthy person, on the days I feel like having a soft drink, which is, believe me, often, then some days my identity helps me not to have a soft drink at all. And some days I say just one sip and I stop at that one sip. Then my personality becomes, because I say no to soft drinks and I add the most just to please myself or please the people around me, I have one sip. My personality is people see me as a person who doesn't have soft drinks or who says no to soft drinks or who can resist soft drinks. That further strengthens my behavior of saying no to soft drinks. And that further solidifies my identity as a person who is healthy. So the cycle goes like this because the goals drive my identity. So what is driving your identity? How do you want to be? Identify that, and that will take you to your goals. Any questions? Thomas, I am almost done. These are a few things that I liked about goals. If you want to live a happy life, tie it to a goal, not to people or to things, because goal is something that you can work towards, and the right kind of people and the people who support you, who are in sync with you, will come to you. Things will automatically come to you, which matter to you, as long as you're working towards your goal. Again, the process of it. And people with goals succeed because they know exactly where they're going, of course. And one day or day one, you decide. So starting from today, for many of you, it's the beginning of the session because it's that part of the year. And for quite of us, in fact, it is actually a happy new year because it's the start of the second half of the year. We've done with 6 months. So today could be the day one where you address this question as to what do I want? Why do I want it? And what kind of person will achieve those goals? And then move on to set whatever process goals you want with that identity in mind. Thank you so much, Thomas, for the time and the opportunity. Any questions? If you have any questions, you can reach out to Thomas. Of course, you can reach out to me at dolveen@gmail.com. As simple as that, dolveen@gmail.com. And my promise to you is any hiccup, and I'm there for you. Thomas, all yours.
Hi, Dolveen. I don't see any more queries here.
Okay.
I would request anyone, I think you have an option now to unmute yourself and ask your queries too. I would request all of you to, if you have any queries, you can definitely go ahead and ask. And Dolveen, again, with your permission, I will put in your email address too in case there are anything that they want to ask you later too.
Please do. If there's any queries, if there's any feedback, if there's any add-ons that I might have missed, go ahead and ask. Yeah, I tried this. Thank you so much, Minnie.
Dolveen, just like you said, just for today, most of the time in my younger days, I used to do just for 5 minutes. When that study
Oh,
becomes,
yes.
yeah, becomes tough, I used to do that. Yeah, that's really
Yes.
fascinating. Thank you.
In fact, that is actually a very interesting point, which I want to take up in my subsequent sessions, where just for 5 minutes or just for 2 minutes, this is so powerful. This is, and we underestimate the power of small steps. We actually do. We underestimate the power of the just for. So yeah, thank you so much for adding that. Thank you so much, Uday, for being here. Anything else, anyone? So Thomas, it is 9:35. We are at the end of our 1 hour, and I'm glad that we could finish it in time. I'm saying this once again, that if there's anybody who has set a goal and has issues about or wants to discuss it as we move forward, please do reach out. It would be fantastic to discuss it and help you move forward. Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you so much, Dolveen. And we will keep you posted on the next session as well. As always, I got some personal messages here. If I may read out to you, Dolveen. Thank you, Dolveen, ma'am. As usual, wonderful and powerful session. This is Manisha. So thank you all
Thank
of
you,
you.
Manisha.
And thank you for joining in. We will continue to do the sessions every Saturday. Hopefully, we will probably look at a different timing slightly next week. We will keep you posted on that too. So have a nice day, everyone, and all the best.
Thank you. All the best.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Welcome.